Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Wallace with 925 Partners Insurance based out of Florida. And today I'm going to walk you through the DOT online application process. Here's a little bit about myself, what we do. We specialize in for-hire trucking. Here we go. So here's the main website for the FMCSA. You're going to click here, registration, apply for a new US DOT number and or authority. You want to take me to login.gov. It's going to ask you to create an account. I've already done that. So once you do set that up, you're going to be taken right here. So this is the very first page of the process. Okay, are you a third-party service provider? Again, this is for hire motor carriers, trucking companies, not freight forwarders or brokers. So the answer to this for a for-hire trucking company is no. We'll hit next. Are you a new applicant or a returning applicant? This is for new applicants. Okay, scroll down here. So BOC3, I'm not going to explain it. It's just something that you have to do. Just Google BOC3 filing. There's a ton of companies out there that will do the filing for you. It shouldn't cost more than 25, 30 bucks. If it costs substantially more than that, you're doing the wrong thing. But I'm not going to explain it. It's a one-time, about $25, $30 charge. Just Google it and get it done. Okay, we're going to click next and just kind of read through here. Nothing super important here. We're going to hit next. Okay, these are things that you want to have available. I'm going to put in some dummy information, but obviously you want to have this information available to complete. It should not take as long as it may estimate that it will take. And click next.
Okay, financial responsibility. This is something the insurance company does on your behalf once you get insurance. So it doesn't pertain to you. Just select yes and let's move on. Designation of process agents. If you're not familiar with this, it probably doesn't pertain to you. So we're just going to move on and hit next.
Okay. We're going to hit next here. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to hit next here. Information collection. So you will see that a lot of publicly available information will get out there from completing this. That's why you will get lots of phone calls soliciting for services, insurance being one of those, as soon as you complete the process, because unfortunately for your sake, a lot of this information does become publicly available. But if you want to be in the business and have an active authority, you have to complete it. So, okay. So we have an application ID that's been assigned. You can just take a picture of the screen if you want, but if you complete the process in one sitting, it's not a big deal. You can move forward. Application contact. Okay, so I would recommend that just the owner puts their information on here. I'll explain why later. Okay, so from an insurance perspective, just the more people that you put on here, the more questions you're going to get. They're going to wonder, does this person drive? Oh, well, we want to see a copy of their MVR, because insurance companies are afraid that you may have somebody that's got a bad record that's tied to this business, or maybe ran a previous trucking company into the ground, and they're just going to ask questions about everything that's on here. So I would advise, unless you absolutely have to put a second person, just put the owner, if it's you, just the primary contact for the account. So we're going to do here. Company contact. So we'll just do my name, Jonathan Wallace. Contact title. We're going to say owner. It's important to get it right. You may get some important emails, so you want to make sure this is entered correctly. So I'd probably prefer email, but choose whatever you prefer. All right. Okay. Please click Next to proceed. If you have a DNB number, put yes. You probably don't if you're just starting your company now. Legal business name. My last name is Wallace. I'll do Wallace Trucking Company, LLC. Now, it is important to check before you do this to make sure there's not a duplicate company name. So here's the FMCSA website. You can Google this as well, and you can search whatever company name that you plan on creating. Okay, so there's a similar, but there's not an exactly the same name. So if I wanted to create this company, I would be good to create it. You also want to maybe check with your state Division of Corporations website just to make sure there's not a duplicate name for whatever you're planning to name your company. If I was going to be creating this company, this name appears to be available, so we're going to move forward here. If you have a DBA name, I don't in this case, put it in here if you do.
Okay, I'm going to assume yes for this one. We'll just move on.
Okay, so more details here. We're going to assume it's the same. We're going to hit next. We're going to hit next. Okay. So, EIN or social. I don't actually have an EIN, so I'm going to put my social in here. Okay. We're going to hit next. I'm going to assume you're not a unit of government. We're going to assume you're a private company. Okay. Select the business type. A lot of you will probably be LLC. That's what I'm choosing here. But select the one that's correct for you. Ownership and control. We're going to assume we're United States citizens. We can hit next. Okay, here we go. Company contact one. Again, unless you have to, I'd recommend just keeping it with just one person. So we're going to put my information in here again. We're going to put owner. And I promise we're going to be getting to the important stuff here shortly because you can easily make mistakes that are going to give you major headaches when you go look for competitive insurance. So you want to make sure that you get this right. So we're going to hit next here. Okay, we're going to assume the same address again. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is a summary of the information we just completed. Just double check it's accurate. And we're going to hit next. Okay, so there's lots of categories here that you could fall under, but again, we're talking about just your standard for-hire trucking company. So even if you're an intermodal hauler, you're still going to be just a motor carrier of property. That's what you want to select here. This is not involving just a trucking company that hauls containers. It's still here. That's for people that are providing equipment, more so on the shipper side. So dry van, reefer, flatbed, auto hauler. If you are hauling goods for others, this is what you are. Again, not an intermodal equipment provider. If you're a trucking company, which this is directed towards, you are a no. Even if you're going to be hauling intermodal equipment, the answer is no. Yes, you will transport property. Yes, others are going to pay you for transporting property. that belong to others. This is also important. Unless you know for sure you are hauling one of these three things, don't select them. It's going to cause you a lot of problems. So if you're hauling goods for Amazon that are considered household type, this household goods is for moving companies, like a moving and storage, like you are helping a family move or a company move. If you are for hire trucking, just please select other non-hazardous freight. That's 99% of the people watching this are going to be other non-hazardous freight. Moving forward. Okay. If you plan to haul across state lines, interstate means across state lines, the answer is yes. I'm going to assume the answer is no. So if you are a company if you are a manufacturer that made your own goods and hauling your own goods, that's a different story. But everybody here is what I consider a traditional for-hire trucking company. So the answer is no. We're going to assume we are not passenger haulers. The answer is no. Okay. No, this is not geared towards household good service providers or brokers. So the answer is no. No, we're not freight forwarders. That's a whole different classification. The answer is no. Cargo tank facility, definitely no. Again, you would know if you do these things. We're going to say no. You would know what driveway is if you were playing the driveway. In your case, answer is no. Towaway, no. That's not what this is geared towards. Okay, probably the most important page of this process to not screw up, because insurance companies are going to see every single thing that you select here. The more things that you select, the more problems it may cause, because there's a lot of insurance companies out there that may have really competitive rates, but they don't like auto haulers for some reason. So if you're not an auto hauler and you select this because you might want to do it down the road, you just eliminated yourself from potentially a very competitive rate. I also wouldn't select this. Even if you haul lumber, I wouldn't select this because it says logs, poles, beams, lumber. Well, if you haul cut lumber, just select building materials if you really feel like it. But really, most of all, my advice is just select general freight. It's just better that way. You get less questions, and it's going to help you down the road. You can always update it if somebody does specifically want to see something different. Now, if you are 100% certain of what you are going to be hauling, like you are for sure a flatbed hauler, okay, you can select building materials. If you are for sure hauling refrigerated food of some kind, okay, you can do it, but it really doesn't help you and it just causes more problems. So my recommendation is just to select general freight. You can always change it later, but once you select something that you shouldn't have, then it's going to kind of stick with you forever, and you're always going to get questions as to why you originally selected logs, poles, beams, or why did you originally select that you're going to be hauling, chemicals or livestock or mobile homes. These are, some problematic categories. A lot of insurance companies don't like hazardous, or even the auto haulers have higher risk, liquids, gases, livestock. So just, play it straight, general freight. That's what you should do if you haul dry van, flatbed, reefer, moving forward. Okay, that's just a summary of what we just answered. Hit next. Okay. Click next to proceed. Okay, so non-commercial motor vehicles you plan to operate. This should be 0. Again, non-commercial vehicles. Okay, now these are your commercial vehicles. So in most cases, everybody here, I'm going to assume you are a semi-truck company starting with 1 truck and 1 trailer. So for most of you watching this is my advice. Now you might think, oh, I'm going to be adding 2 or 3 trucks. I'm going to have people coming on, joining me, soon. Fine. You can always change this later, but just put what it is now. So, or what you're going to be. In most cases, I would just recommend 1 truck, 1 trailer. So even if you don't have your truck yet, you're about to buy it, just put 1 truck, 1 trailer, because that's how you are going to be starting. Straight trucks or box trucks, so obviously 0 there, unless that's what you're going to be doing. So this is my advice for most of you. It's going to be 1 truck, 1 trailer. Again, even if you don't have your trailer yet, or you're gonna be hauling non-owned trailers, it's okay. Just put 1 truck, 1 trailer, or 1 truck, 0 trailers, and you'll be in good shape. So definitely don't overestimate this, because you're gonna get a lot of questions as to why you put 3 trucks when you only own 1. Next. 0, unless you know otherwise. We're going to assume most of you are not operating in Canada or Mexico. Okay, so good question here. So this should probably be 1 if you put that you own 1 truck. I'm going to assume most people are for hire trucking. So it says solely interstate commerce. It doesn't mean that if you haul some loads that are only in your state, that changes the answer to this question. Basically, the answer to this is 1, or whatever number that you put, if you plan on doing any loads across state lines. So more than likely, the answer to this is going to be the same answer number that you put on the previous page. Okay. The answer to this will be 0 unless you were registered as intrastate, which means within state lines, you're not crossing state lines. So I'm going to assume this is 0 for you, because this is geared towards, for hire truckers that are crossing state lines. So the answer is 0 unless you are 100% not leaving the state that you reside in. Okay, so summary of what we just checked. So really, if you're just starting off with 1 truck, this should be 1 truck and either 1 trailer or 0 if you plan on hauling non-owned trailers. Next. Okay. Next. All right. So within 100 air mile radius, very unlikely that applies to you. We're going to assume 0. We're going to assume most of you are operating beyond 100 air mile radius, and most of you the answer to the drivers are going to be 1. So that's my recommendation, is that you just go 1 and 1. Yeah, if you have a potential backup driver that you might be hiring, it's better just to make things match. Let's go 1 truck, 1 driver, unless you absolutely know for sure that it's different in your case. Okay, again, intrastate would mean operating only within your state, not crossing state lines. I don't think that applies to most of you watching this, so we're going to assume 0, 0. Okay, number of drivers with a commercial license. Again, I'm going to assume it's 1, because I'm assuming that you all are CDL tractor trailer drivers that are crossing state lines. But if you were potentially a box truck or straight truck operator, the answer to this may be 0. But for most of you, it'll be 1, or however many drivers you have. We're going to assume 0 here. Just a summary. So next. Yes, the property will be transporting vehicles over 10,000 pounds, most likely. Okay, so 750,000 is the federal minimum. Most of you will ultimately need $1 million policy, because most shippers, brokers are going to require $1 million of coverage. So again, we'll hit next here. They're going to ask about affiliation with other companies. So I'm going to assume that there is no affiliation. Obviously, you would know if you had some other affiliation, but we're going to assume no. Summary of the question. Okay. Certification statement, pretty straightforward. Just certifying what you've said is accurate. Put my information in here. E-signature. Enter. Next. And next. Obviously, read this and make sure that you did answer everything correctly. We're going to assume yes. Next. Okay. Well, you have to answer yes if you plan on operating. You may be audited. Actually, everybody will be receiving a new entry audit within their first 12 months of their authority. Okay, but yes, if you were disqualified, I think you would know it. Okay, just going to put yes here. Answer is yes, and otherwise you would probably know it. Answer should be yes. Okay, we're getting towards the end. I can't go all the way to the end because I'm not actually starting Wallace Trucking Company, but we're almost to the finish line. And we've hit the most important parts. The commodities section, that's critical to get right. You don't want to put a bunch of commodities on there that you don't plan on hauling. And the type of equipment, that's also correct too. So just make sure you get those right. Everything else is pretty straightforward. And our agency does for-hire trucking in every state, with the exception of California, New York, and Massachusetts, and a few others. But reach out to 925 Partners if you would like a competitive quote. We're almost done here. First and last name. Okay, $300 application fee. We are towards the end, so you click next to proceed. I'm not going to actually proceed with making payment because I'm not starting Wallace Trucking Company. I am an insurance agent at an agency that specializes in for-hire trucking. This is a little bit about me. We have a great team of people and happy to help. But again, back to the registration, you click next to proceed. And be careful of scams. There's people that will charge you a lot of money to do the same process that we just walked through, that you can do it yourself. So be very careful about paying people to do things for you that are pretty straightforward. And this is where we're going to stop. So hopefully this is helpful. Feel free to reach out to myself or anybody at our office if you have any more questions about the process. But hopefully you found this helpful, and thanks for your time.